Hi everyone, and welcome to the Say As It Is with Pete podcast series. I'm Pete, your host, and each week I will bring you some frank and honest conversations covering various topics from learning and development, apprenticeships, funding, HR, strengths, recruitment, ESG, well-being, ED&I, employability, and much, much more. So let's get this week's episode underway and say as it is. Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Say As It Is with Pete, the show where I cut through all the noise and talk honestly about work, careers, and the future of recruitment in the UK. As usual, I'm Pete, your host, and I like to have these frank, honest conversations, and Season 4 is having a lovely season around recruitment. So, 2 episodes altogether, so this is episode 3, and today I'm going to be diving into something that affects every job seeker, every employer, and frankly, every household in Britain or the United Kingdom. And also the National Employment and Training Trends, better known as NETT. So if you are wondering what's really happening in the UK job market, where the opportunities are, and how you can position yourself to success, whether you're hiring or hunting for jobs, this episode is for you. Yes, for you. So I'm going to break down the latest NETT data, explore what it means for recruitment and social value, and as always, I'll share practical tips to help you in finding your next role or finding your next top talent. So let's get going. Okay, so what is NETT and why does it matter? Well, first of all, let's demystify NETT. Now, NETT stands for National Employment and Training Needs, and it also can stand for Not in Education and Teaching and Training. So it's the government's annual report that tracks everything from job growth to skills shortages to training uptake and the economic inactivity across the UK. So the economic inactivity means there's a bunch of people out there that are economically inactive and not actively seeking work, we can't get to. And as employers, we struggle because, look, I belong to the social recruitment advocacy group. I can't say that. I've been at a event for the social recruitment advocacy group today. Great day in Bedford. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, I need to say it properly, or SHRAG for short. So this fits in perfectly. So, you know, as we say, why does it matter? And it's because NETT is the closest thing we have to a crystal ball for the UK job market, and it tells us the following. It tells us which sectors are growing or shrinking, where the skills gaps are, and how many people are in work, out of work, or economically inactive, as I was saying. So, and then also what training and upskilling is actually happening on the ground. And this is key because, you know, look, as employers, it's key for an employer to know about NETT and how they can find out more about it, do their research, and it helps within your social value part of figuring out how you can look to tackle those economically inactive people to get them into work to fill potential vacancies that you need to fill. So just some quick facts for you. So according to the 2025 NETT report so far, the UK workforce is more diverse and digitally skilled than ever. But we're also facing record numbers of economically inactive adults. So over 9.2 million, from what I can see, is according to the ONS data. And that's a huge pool of untapped potential talent that could be unlocked and given potential jobs. And now we see that the digital skills element is there, and a little bit about the event I went today. There's the Games Academy, and they're supporting people into work that play games, surprisingly or not. For example, the guy that was doing it, and I can't remember his name, so I'm going to try and find out again because it was such a busy day. My brain is fried. It's 28 degrees, like overheated. But the guy that was doing the on the carousel for the Game Academy, he was saying that a lot of these people that are doing games or playing games are strategically using their minds. Like Football Manager, it's a lot of data, statistics, all those kind of things. So they are using their brains more than we think they are. So we just think they're sitting there playing games and they're wasting their time, effort, and they're wasting their days away. But honestly, their brains are doing a lot more than we think, and their brains are being kind of pre-trained for things they didn't really know that they were doing. So there was one guy there that said he used to play Football Manager, and he got into it really well, he loved it, and then he went into sales, and that's why he loves sales, because of the data and the statistics and everything else, and how to win and everything else. So it's very interesting minefield. So I might do something on that at some point. But yeah, the digital skills is there because a lot of the stuff is going from the real world to the artificial world. A lot of things are moving kind of online into the digital world. We're not going to go fully digital yet, but obviously companies and organizations need those digital skills nowadays because there are some tasks that are being replaced by AI. But it's being more how to use technology and being more digital. So you'll see a lot more digital skills elements coming in, and a lot of the workforce out there are tech savvy, because if you look at especially Generation Z, especially Generation Alpha, they're all very digitalized, and they can literally use a laptop or a tablet as soon as they're born, basically, because they know how to use it. Some kids know how to use iPads and tablets and PCs better than me, and that's scary. And I thought I was quite clever on technology, but there we are. I think I need to watch a few more YouTube videos. But then I learn from people that are younger than me showing me those skills. So hey, you never know. So look, what trends are kind of shaping the UK market then from this? So let's break it down. Now, the trends you need to know about are coming up. So first of all, growth sectors. So you've got, for the growth sectors at the moment, you're looking at tech and digital. So that's around cybersecurity, data analysis, and those AI roles are, starting to be booming. And I've done quite a few podcasts on AI, so go back and listen to those. Also, green jobs, so renewable energy, environmental consultancies, and sustainable construction are all on the rise. And we're now starting to see a net zero buildings being made, total carbon neutral. The first green prison has been built by Mighty, the first green hotel by Voco which is an IHG property. So all of these are kind of leading the way into kind of green jobs and green companies and things like that. So then we got healthcare and social care. So an aging population, not an emerging, but see, my brain is fried today. So an aging population means more demand on care and carers, nurses, and the aligned health professionals like doctors and things. And if you look, and if you're listening to the news recently, the doctors have actually gone on strike for 5 days because they want a pay increase. The NHS is pushed, as it has always been, to its limits. We are struggling to find carers to fill carer jobs here, and we're having to go overseas. So like, for example, the emergency services for the ambulance service, they tend to go overseas to find paramedics, like in Australia and things, and bring them over, give them kind of tax-free living, those kind of things. They don't have to pay tax, or they give them a house and all sorts of flat and everything, make it a bit easy for them. So we're kind of outsourcing our services by going overseas to find them, to bring them in. But we're struggling right now. We need to build that homegrown talent. We've got to get more people engaged and kind of in there. And especially when we're looking at kind of the digital and tech, that's also being built in towards the health and social care. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing kind of training wise, because I'm in L&D, we're seeing a lot of VR. So VR in how to treat a patient, or how to deal with certain situations via virtual reality. So it comes hand in hand. But again, we're struggling to find homegrown talent that can fill these vacancies, but they are on the rise because, as it says, we are an aging population, and as we age, we're living longer, which means care and health services need to be pulled upon. So it's an ever-growing sector. And then construction and infrastructure. So there are major projects, especially in the North and Midlands, are driving demand for skilled trades. So, for example, spoiler alert, at the Social Recruitment Advocacy Group event or summit I went to today, was the Shrag Summit, it was there was a section on the future of Bedford, and it was quite interesting because Universal Studios are building a theme park in Bedford. Yes, Universal Studios theme park is coming to the UK. It's being built in Bedford. So Bedford's going to get a bit of a lift and makeover. There's going to be bigger platforms at some stations, new kind of slip roads coming in. It's going to have obviously the American teams over to get it up and running, but then they're going to kind of lay back a little bit and then let the UK teams take over and run. It was fascinating to hear what's coming, what they're doing, and how they're investing in social value and looking to recruit locally. So I think it was like 70% of the jobs that they want to give for the theme park and for the construction and everything are people in Bedford. Then the remainder will go to other areas in and around like Milton Keynes, Luton, etc. It's really interesting because the theme park is going to be open in 2031, so not long to go. I'm excited. I can't wait to go. But it means that there's going to be more hotels, more bars, more restaurants. There's going to be more footfall through Bradford, more career opportunities, more jobs. People are going to be coming in because they've got jobs and work there. I've seen their yearly employment progression plan, which is really ambitious. Again, 70% of those jobs are going to be aimed for locals, and then for those kind of in and around the surrounding town. So it's interesting, and that infrastructure needs to be there, and they're really getting invested in it. So there's lots of stuff going on in the North and Midlands. So keep an eye out for that, especially if you're up those areas. So 2, skills gaps. So the UK faces, acute shortages in digital skills, engineering and healthcare, as well as hospitality. I'll dip that one in because we are got skill shortages. It's hard to find people. Hospitality is a very challenging one sometimes because you've got all sorts going on. Some days your hotels can be exceptionally busy with your bars and restaurants, and other times they can be dead as a dodo. So sometimes you're on a 90 to 100% occupancy, and then you suddenly drop down to a 60% occupancy or even a 25% occupancy, and it kind of goes ups and downs. And obviously lots of people are either on 0 hours or they're on 16 or set 16 hours. And especially those on 0 hours, it's easier for employers to say, well, we don't need you this week because we're quiet. So the people haven't got the work, but people need to work, right? So they go elsewhere, and they find that they can get the hours everything elsewhere. And if they do that, that then means that unfortunately the employer loses out because they're having to re-recruit, rehire. There's you're having to retrain everybody because those skills gaps are not there anymore. So it is a challenge. It is, and I think the skills gaps need to be addressed, whether it's in any organisation or just as a country. We need to know what those skills gaps are, whether it be in construction, healthcare, health and social care, whether it be in hospitality, especially in hospitality, or all sorts. We need to be able to identify those, but then also we need to be proactive in how we recruit and what we do. And obviously with the new employee bill coming in, it means that even if someone is on a 0 hours, they will be able to request guaranteed hour contracts or guaranteed hours, which will be based over what they've worked over the last 12 weeks and what the average is of the total hours, and that will be their guaranteed hours. So look, I will do an episode on the new employee bill that is coming out and how that kind of impacts as well. I might do a season on that and give you 10 episodes, especially around that one. So that might be season 5 or season 6. So keep noting it, but it will be this year. So you've got to be aware of that. So if you can find out from what the skill shortages are in your organisation or within your industry, you know what they are, just be aware of them and look at how you can kind of bridge that gap. So the third one is the economic inactivity. So as I said, economic inactivity is at a 20-year high, driven by long-term sickness, early retirement, and caring responsibility. So this is where you've got people who are carers. Now, if you're measuring who's carers in your organisation, perfect. If not, you'll be surprised. I recently did a ED&I survey because in my organisation, we don't really catch the ED&I element at the application stage or at the onboarding stage. We never have. So it's now my task as social value lead to look at gathering that data, and we just recently done one as part of our kind of charter mark, and it was actually interesting to see that we do have carers in the business. Didn't know that. So, and we do have some neurodiverse people. Didn't know that. So it was very interesting to see what that is, and we're going to run it again this year. So I can't wait to see that. But it's always interesting to know that there are, it is on that economic inactivity is out there. As I said, it's 9.2 million, I think. And there's various reasons why they're economically not active. And also there's a renewed focus on bringing these people back into the workforce through flexible working, retraining, and, inclusive recruitment. It can also be offering, work experience placements. There's all these skills boot camps, skills passports that are going on. The apprenticeship system is just in the process of changing. So they're offering foundation apprenticeships, which are normally 8 months apprenticeships now, with the basis of someone going on to then doing a level 2 qualification and progressing that way. So there's all sorts of things that are coming to attract the economically inactive. And if you're looking to find out more about it or get into, how you can tap into it, then reach out to me and I can link you in with some people I know at People Plus and from the Covenant that actually get involved in that. And they've helped us out quite a lot with the, finding potentially unlocked hidden talent. And that's what I like about the economically inactive, is there is some really good hidden talent out there. Okay. And number 4, training and upskilling. So as I said, apprenticeships, T-levels and digital boot camps are growing in popularity. So there are boot camps that are either 6 to 12 weeks. There are some caveats that you must know. So for example, if you are doing a 12-week boot camp, that is offering somebody a placement within your organisation for 12 weeks, which is normally the length of probation. But what you're doing is, as an employer, it's not very straightforward of, I'm going to have someone and they're going to come with me because DWP or the provider is going to, give that wraparound support. No. Now, I had a challenge with someone in my organisation about this, and they were like, but DWP are paying their wages if they go on the boot camps for 12 weeks. No, they're not. And being part of Shrag has been great because I can find out lots of what's going on, keep my ears to the ground. I know a guy called Tony Hayland, who is an amazing guy at DWP. He does lots of stuff with covenants, within the various different covenants that are out there, and lots of stuff with DWP, the economically inactive, also those from disadvantaged backgrounds. And I follow him on LinkedIn, and if you don't, then find him, Tony Hayland. He's go for my contacts. He's on the results. Great guy, really nice to meet, really good to talk to, really insightful. But when you do these boot camps, as I said, there are caveats. So as an employer, you've got to be aware that, and this is also good for a job seeker if you're listening. So a boot camp is going to give you those kind of that knowledge, skills and behaviors that you need within the world to kind of get you started. It's a 12-week program, and at the end of that 12 weeks, the employer must guarantee an interview to hopefully take that person onto full-time employment or put them into an apprenticeship. Now, for the employer, there are those caveats of that kind of giving a guaranteed interview, but also as the employer, you will be expected to pay the London living wage, which is about £13.85, and you cannot pay anything less. So you have to pay £13.85 or above. If it's out of London and anywhere else in the UK, it's £12.60, I think, and it can't be anything less than £12.60. See the difference between London and out of London. It's crazy. It should all be the same, really. There shouldn't be a comparison in my eyes. It should be one set rate. That's why I don't like not the London living wage, but I don't like the national minimum wage, with the age brackets for an apprentice, for a 16 to 19, 19 to 24, 24 plus. I don't like it. You shouldn't be restricted to an age. It should just be one flat rate. That's what it should be. But that's my opinion, and I've already sent an email to the DWP Skills Employability Minister, and I'm waiting a response. So yeah, we'll see what she says. But so you as an employer, you have to guarantee 12 full weeks of employment or work experience. You have to make sure that you pay them either the London living wage of £13.85 or above, or if it's outside of London, then you are paying £12.60 or above, nothing less. As the employer, you have to guarantee 16 hours. Yes, you have to guarantee a 16-hour contract or more a week for the 12 weeks. So you can't say, oh, we do 0 hours. No, you have to give a guaranteed contract of 16 hours a week. Okay, so you have to do that. And then... and that's it. So you've got to pay them the wage, you've got to give them guaranteed hours with a contract of guaranteed hours, and obviously give them that interview at the end. So there are benefits to that. You are going to get somebody that is going to be hopefully committed and wanting to work. You've got the option to use that person on their probation, and obviously if it works, it works. It doesn't. But don't just use it as cheap labour, because it ain't going to work. Because if that's all you're going to do is just keep replacing every 12 weeks with new people, you're idiots. Don't do it, because if I found out you were doing it, I would easily name and shame you in a heartbeat. So don't do it. Don't abuse the system. The idea is you get these people into work and you put them on the boot camps, and from the boot camps, if they're successful, move them onto an apprenticeship, move them to a T level. As I say, with apprenticeships, they've slightly changed, and obviously the funding and everything is changing as we go through. Obviously, it's not the Institute for Apprenticeships anymore, it's Skills for England, and the IFA, or the Institute for Apprenticeships, ended on the 1st of June, and it transitioned straight across to Skills for England. So you're still going to find stuff. There's lots of stuff going on. As I say, the apprenticeships can be done at a little bit less. So instead of a minimum being 12 months, it can be 8 months, as long as they meet all the requirements. Whereas before, the minimum was 12 months and 7 days. So it's slightly changed, but also what they've introduced are these foundation apprenticeships, and you can go on to Skills for England and look at foundation apprenticeships to see what's out there. But the foundation apprenticeships are designed for 8 months delivery, on the grounds that you as an employer take them on to do their apprenticeship, and you progress them, etc. And yes, there are incentives for employers. This bank is about a £2,000 incentive, but you're only going to get 3 payments. You get payments at certain points of that person being on program, but the final payment that you get for that £2,000, be aware, the government will not pay it to you unless they progress onto an apprenticeship or a T level. If they don't progress after doing their foundation apprenticeship, that final bit of money you ain't getting. So employers, be careful and really consider what you're doing. Don't use it for 12 weeks, let them go, because it ain't going to work. Don't use them for 12 weeks, put them onto a foundation apprenticeship, so you've got another 8 months of them to get that £2,000 for your pocket. No, don't, because you're not going to get that full £2,000. You'll be caught short. So invest in people properly. This is what social value is about, guys. Don't take the mick. Yeah, it's not cheap labour. This is people that are wanting career development and growth. So apprenticeships, T levels, and I say the boot camps. I have got podcasts around these in previous seasons, so go back and have a look. But I will do a few more around this as well. And if any of you are listening and you want to jump on about and have conversations about the apprenticeships, T levels, boot camp things, please do, as I'd love to find out your own lived experiences with them as an employer or an employee. But yeah, let's spark those honest conversations and really talk about how this all is. So also within this training and upskilling is employers are investing more in staff development, which is a good thing, but there's still a mismatch between what's offered and what's needed. And I think as also, look at what your skills gaps are, look where you need those skills, what are the jobs you need, and provide that relevant training. Just don't think, oh, I need to get this person. No. have a look at it. So just be careful, do a training needs analysis, look at where you're short, where you're struggling. Do a survey with your staff and find out what training they want. I've sent one out recently for our e-learning with our employees, saying, look, when you came to the company, how are you finding the e-learning? What's your experience? We're also going to be sending one out soon anyway about our recruitment process. Like, how did you find us? Was it easy to apply? What was the interview process like? Because the more feedback we get on somebody's lived experience from going from finding the job to getting into the job, that's fundamental. And it should be done. And it's a great social value element. It's a great way to look at your organization and think, how can we remove barriers? And somebody was talking at the event today about they don't like the word barriers, they like the word challenges. So how do we remove those challenges? How do we remove those hurdles? How do we remove those blockers? Or how do we remove those drainers? And I love energy drainers, and in Strength Scope we call out our lowest strengths that fall below a certain line a drainer, and that's because it just drains us when we're looking at it. And if you come up across a hurdle or a barrier, it kind of drains you because you're like, oh no, really? Okay. So look, as employers, we are investing. I know we are. Don't heavily, again, I'm going to be honest, because I am in L&D, don't heavily rely on AI, because you still need that humanistic approach, that human being there, because AI can do wondrous things, but you still need a human there. Although our training is done via e-learning, there's still elements of me in some videos and other people in videos. And that's because we want to make it more realistic, more relatable. Whereas if you're using avatars, they're not always the best, and they're very static and robotic. And I know that because I've used avatars and AIs before. But also, it just makes it more personal, more relatable, and not so cold. Yeah? Okay, so enough of my rambling about that one. So now, as I've been talking about it, social value recruitment. So why it matters now. And as I say, I am a founding member or founding employer and member and founder signature of the social value recruitment covenant, as well as the social recruitment advocacy group, and I've seen that group grow and develop, and it's been so instrumental on the social value recruitment aspect as a business. And when we were doing our charter mark, I must admit it was interesting, because we were doing so much that when we actually dissected it, we're actually, okay, we're doing this, I can see it, yeah, we do this, and actually now there's a measurable impact that we probably didn't realise that could be done. So I'm proud to say we got our bronze. We were 2 or 3 things away from a gold. I kicked myself, but I know what they are, we're working on them, and we're nearly up ready for reassessment, because my aim by the end of August or September or the next event is to go to gold. Yes, because I'm on a mission. So yeah, social value is key, and social value has to sit throughout the business. Everybody within your organization, from the bottom up, is all involved in social value recruitment. So social value recruitment is about more than filling roles. It's about hiring in a way that benefits society as a whole. So it's about creating those opportunities for those who have been left out. It's about supporting local economies and communities, and building workspaces or places that reflect the communities they serve. Okay, so again, why now? Why social recruitment? Well, the UK government's social value act. Listen, guys, I apologise. It's been a long day. My brain is fried. I don't even know what's possessed me to record this now, but I know I need to record it because I need to get the episode out, and I was behind recording. So I apologise once again for some of my mismatches of words, but hey, this is the joy of having these conversations, and why I don't like to edit these things, because it's real, right? It's a real honest conversation. So, as I was saying, let's try again. The UK's government Social Value Act, which came out in 2013, I believe, means that the public sector contracts now require proof of the social impact, Also, private sector employers are under pressure to show they're making a positive difference, not just kind of chasing profit. So a couple of things on that. So you've got the Social Value Act or the Social Value Model. Then you've got the Procurement Act or Bill coming out in October. And there are certain requirements that you now need to have to do, like show that you're engaging with partners, suppliers, communities. You have that social value aspect of recruitment, etc. And that's why I picked this up right from the beginning when Shrag was first spoken about. I got to be part of that beginning journey and realizing that on that journey we were at that kind of engaging stage, and now we're working towards the kind of the transformation stage. And I've done my social value level 3 qualification, which is the only one of its kind in the UK, and it's done by ANTS. If you want to know more about it, let me know. They also do a social value level 2 and level 3, and there is a level 4 coming, and I can't wait. So what you find is that you're learning that journey and where that social value impact happens. And with the Social Value Act, the Social Value Model, the Social Value Framework, the Social Value Matrix, those outcomes within those of the Procurement Act, for me as an organisation, I'm quite proud to say, on reflection, we are ahead of the game in this. So when this comes out in October, we're already doing it. So, if you're not already doing it yourself, first of all, I recommend everybody sign the Social Recruitment Covenant. It's free. Take a look at it. I'm going to put the link in the bio. But I'm literally want people to sign the covenant. I want every employer that listens to this to sign the Social Value Covenant. Yeah? Social Value Recruitment Covenant. Sign it. There's no excuses. Also, get your suppliers to sign it, to get involved into their commitment for social value recruitment. The more, the merrier. The better it is. It's that leading force, that unsung army that's pushing for better social value recruitment, better practices, and lobbying government to say, look what we're doing, this is the journey, this is the impact we're having, this is what we're doing as employers. So go and do it. So how NETT links in with social value, key obviously. So the NETT data highlights where the gaps are, right, as we've discussed. So whether it's supporting young people into work, helping the long-term unemployed, or upskilling those in declining industries, but also social value recruitment is the bridge between those needs and the real lasting changes. So I've got some practical tips now. So practical tips for job seekers. Key thing, because I know there are some job seekers that do listen to this, and there are people that I know listen to this and they love this information. So riding the NETT wave. Okay, so all right, let's get practical on this one now for a job seeker. So if you're looking for work right now, how can you use NETT insights to your advantages? Well, first of all, you can target growth sectors. So look at the roles in tech, green industries, healthcare and construction. Use job boards like Indeed, Reed or sector-specific sites to filter these industries. 2, upskill for in-demand roles. So there are free and low-cost courses that are around learning. So People Plus have a portal as well, which has got some cheap courses on there. There's also a website called Allison LMS, which has got loads of free learning on there. You would only have to pay for the certificate if you wanted it. There's lots of learning. You've got LinkedIn Learning as well. So there's lots of different things and free courses you can do. So check out the National Careers Service as well. Do like Future Learn, and also check out local colleges and things, because there may be free government funded courses you can do. Also focus on your digital skills, project management and communication skills. So consider apprenticeships or retraining. There is no age limit to apprenticeships. So it's not, as I say, it's not just for school leavers. Many apprentices are open for adults looking for a change in career, and the government's Skills for Life campaign has loads of different resources you can look at, but there is no age bracket to an apprenticeship. You can do an apprenticeship at the age of 55, 60, 75. You can do one. So there's no reason why you can't do an apprenticeship. Also, highlight your social value. So employers are looking for candidates who contribute to their kind of social impact goals. So on your CV and in the interviews, talk about your volunteering, community work you've done, or any experiences or lived experiences that shows you care about more than just the bottom line. Okay, so it could be that something you give back to community, things you do for charity, whatever you might do that falls under that kind of volunteering, community, whatever. Talk about it, showcase it, because that's a key seller. And then also use Strength Scope to stand out. Have to plug Strength Scope. So take a Strength Scope assessment to identify your 7 unique strengths, your bubbling unders, so they're the strengths that you have the potential to be great at, and also your energy trainer. From doing this, you can also see how they help you identify your strengths, how your strengths are seen in a good way, but also what happens when they go into overdrive, how you can leverage your bubbling under strengths, how you can also use those strengths when going for interviews, how you can use them in not only work but day-to-day life, and really get a sense of kind of saying hello to the true you. Okay. And seeing whether you're more people focused, task focused, whether you're kind of focused on how you internally process yourself or you're externally seen. So Strength Scope is an amazing, unique tool to use, and it will help you go from the pathway of limitation to the pathway of possibility. And it puts the wind in your sails and pushes your strengths. So, as I say, use the insight to tailor your applications and show employers why you're the right fit, not just for the job, but for the culture and mission of that organization. And if you are interested in doing your Strength Scope assessment, I actually deliver them. You can reach out to me on hello@creativemind.zone, and I'll be more than happy to talk that through with you and tell you how you can get it done. So now let's look at employers. So we've done a bit of job seekers, now look at the employers. So employers, how to recruit for social value. So if you are on the hiring side, so you're the hiring manager, HR, recruiter, whatever you may be, here's how you can use NETT and social value recruitment to build a stronger, more inclusive team. So 1, widen your talent pool. Told you. So don't forget, it's not just about fishing in the same pond, because we're all going to the same pond. Every company that is similar to you is all going to the same pond. We're all going to the same candidates. Reach out to underrepresented groups, returners, and those who are or have been economically inactive. As I say, you can partner with local job centres, charities, and training providers. You can go to People Plus. You can go to Only a Payment Away, Shore Trust. There are lots of charities out there, but People Plus are probably the ideal one to go for. I'm going to plug them because I've used them quite a bit, and they will do everything. They will help you advertise. Once they get the scope and know your culture, the role you're looking for, what you're doing, they can advertise, they can screen, they can put candidates in front of you. They can provide a wraparound support for that candidate for 3 months to get them the clothes they need to get to work, get their first kind of travel to work, and support them and keep them in work. So reach out to them as well. Build those relationships with DWP big time. Come along to a Shrag event. You'll meet lots of providers, lots of organizations that can help you link into every kind of economically inactive person you could possibly want to, from all sorts of different backgrounds and various things. So build those partnerships, build those relationships. So invest in training and development. Yep. So offer apprenticeships, mentoring, and kind of on the job learning where you can. Use NEAT data to identify where your team's skills gaps are and fill them. And then measure your impact. So track not just who you hire, but how you support their growth and well-being. Use tools like Strength Scope to map their strengths across the teams, because there is Strength Scope teams as well, and I can go more into that at some point on another podcast. But Strength Scope's team is amazing because it pulls every strengths in as a team. It's not you're looking at the unique 7, there could be 10 strengths in a team. Then you look at your bubbling unders and your drainers in a team, and then you have kind of 30, 60 and 90 day kind of plan you can put together to improve. You measure yourself on accountability, trust, honesty, respect, so various things. So that can help as well. And it's a great thing to do. But also, you can measure impact by using different social value tools, ones that you pay for, ones that you don't pay for. There is measurup.org. That's great because it's got some of the social value costings you can use. So, for example, it's £45,000 to have someone in work as a social value cost. As it's the well-being, economical, the impact it has on society, various things. So it explains it all. So £45,000 times the number of people that you employ via NETT, that would show you how much social value you have. For an apprentice to be in your organisation and you keep that apprentice, it's £37,500 a year having an apprentice employed because of that social economical value. So that by the number of your apprentices. So for example, if you've had 552 or 525 apprentices go through and achieve, that's near enough 17.2 million of social value impact you've had. Yeah. So there are ways to measure it, and always measure it. So that's it. So that's what you can look at on the social value front for employers. So the role of StrengthScope in changing the market. So again, I am a StrengthScope practitioner and a StrengthScope master practitioner at that. So yeah, and I love StrengthScope, and I really want StrengthScope to be driven home, especially in recruitment. So StrengthScope, as I said, isn't just a buzzword, it's a practical tool for both job seekers and employers. So for the job seekers, knowing your strengths help you target roles where you'll thrive. So it's when you identify your unique 7, your bubbling under and your drainers, and you say the hello to the true you can then start looking at realizing what kind of roles you want and how you can pull and use your strengths better, and realizing, okay, maybe the job I'm looking at isn't really the job I want. I want something that's got a bit more thinking, a bit more critical thinking, attention to detail. I can see that I'm very kind of focused on the processing of information and the execution. So it really helps. StrengthScope also has StrengthScope Interview. And StrengthScope Interview is used at sometimes the beginning of an interview stage, where the individual is invited to an interview, is invited to complete a StrengthScope report so that the hiring managers can see them and tailor strengths-based interview questions around their strengths. And they're only going to see your strengths. They're not going to see anything else. They'll only see what your top 7 strengths are. And then you'll be able to see, what your strengths are, what they look like when they go into overdrive and when they're in a good way. So that, and sometimes StrengthScope interviews, if you have a strengths culture in your business, which I'm trying to drive with Creative Mind, is if you have that StrengthScope culture and you pulling on people's strengths in the organization, knowing someone's strengths before they do their full StrengthScope report to show their bubbling unders extra and everything else really helps. Yeah, really helps and can bring some real diversity into the team. So also you as job seekers, it also gives you the language to explain your value in interviews and on your CV. So for employers, again, it's about mapping the team strengths that help build a balanced, high-performing teams, and also it supports the inclusion by valuing what each person brings beyond just qualifications. Okay, so a little bit of a fact. So a 2025 study found that teams using strengths based recruitment are 40% more likely to report high engagement and retention. So that's interesting to see that if employers are using this and they're using it as part of their recruitment kind of strategy, 40% are seeing that high engagement from the individual and they're seeing that retention. That says something, right? So consider it. Reach out to me about StrengthScope. More than happy to talk to you more about it, and also see what we can do on that level. But if you're an individual and you want to give it a go, let me know. Just email me, hello@creativemind.zone. So we're going to talk about the UK labour market. So what's kind of next? So let's look ahead. The UK job market is changing fast every day. So, automation and AI will continue to kind of reshape roles, but human strengths like empathy, creativity, and resilience will always be in demand. Social value will become a key, indicator and a key element for employers and candidates alike moving forward. And it's going to be very heavy on social value from October 2025. And then lifelong learning is now essential, not optional. So people want that career development and growth. So create those career pathways. So job seekers, kind of the action steps for you. I want you to set aside time each week to scan NETT reports, job boards, and industry news. So the more you know, the better you can adapt for when you go to your interviews. Now, here's this been a bit of a long episode, this one. So let's kind of start wrapping it up now. So my final thoughts and some action steps for you guys. So to kind of wrap this up, let's relook at this. So the NETT effect is real. So there needs to be an understanding of these trends that gives you a huge edge, whether you're a job hunting or you're hiring. Social value recruitment isn't a fad, okay, it's the future. So use it to guide your choices and stand out, but also use it to show the impact and look at how it can support you tapping into and unlocking that hidden potential and talent from other people that are out there that you wouldn't not normally do. And then Strength Scope can help to play to your strengths and find work that's meaningful, not just a payslip, and you actually enjoy your job for a change. So this week's action steps for you, okay? So what I want you to do is research kind of growth sectors in your area. Look at and take a free online course to boost your skills. So you can go to LinkedIn Learning, you can go to Allison LMS, it's free, register, do some e-learning on there. You can go on to People Plus and look at their learning modules and courses they offer. You could search for training providers that offer free government funded courses. Have a look what's out there and go and learn something, do something. Update your CV to highlight your strengths and the social value you have as well. And then if you're an employer, review your recruitment practices. Are you really reaching the best talent? Have you removed any of those blockers and drainers from people applying? Have you streamlined your recruitment process so it's simple? Because a simple recruitment process is better. Okay, so look, guys, thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, you can share and like this episode. Share it with everyone that you may think is interested in listening about NETT. And if you found any of the information useful today, I hope it has been, and please share it with others. And I will see you next time on Monday, where I will be talking about the economically inactive a little bit more, who they are and why it matters, and how to bring more people back into the real world. So we looked at NEET this time. Next time we'll look at the economically inactive. So until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, just say as it is.